It's been a long week in gaming. The long-awaited new Horizon game from Guerrilla Games has finally been revealed, but it did not go over well. I also got updates on the current Ubisoft situation. Things will get worse before it gets better. But we also have positive news and many rumors and leaks about what's to come. So good that you're joining the Sunday News Roundup. And let's go. Ubisoft held an internal town meeting this week to give employees answers about what's going on, but it seems to have done a little to make things better. One of the most noteworthy quotes was that we, Ubisoft, should expect our headcount in March to be significantly lower than it was in September. In September, that number was around 17,000, so significantly lower likely means that a couple of thousand people will lose their job. Ubisoft already said that they would announce layoffs on February 12th during their third quarter investor call, so that's likely when they will talk about numbers. Wishing everyone at Ubisoft the best, of course. The sad reality is that for Ubisoft to return to profitability right now, they have to make changes like this. I talked in a previous video about the 5 creative houses Ubisoft has now, each focused on different genres and IPs, and Ubisoft now confirmed in the town hall that selling a creative house is a possibility, although it should not be the first route to work on. Quick refresher, these creative houses have their own studios, full control over their respective series, and they also carry full commercial responsibility. So that means that they need to ensure that their production costs and releases keep them in the green. So for example, if a new Ghost Recon releases and doesn't do well, that will have a major impact on the other franchises inside Creative House 2 as well. So if The Division only performs well in that second creative house, then they might focus exclusively on that to remain profitable. If a creative house cannot make its model work, then Ubisoft can look at selling off the brands or bringing in another company for a cash injection. We also heard this week that Ubisoft union representatives are calling for CEO Yves Guillemot to resign. Now obviously the buck stops with him, he is responsible for the situation that Ubisoft is currently in. However, during the town hall meeting he said that his goal is to continue to make it flourish for many years to come. So yes, many employees will be laid off this coming week, but the person responsible will remain in charge. I'll bring you all the updates in the next Sunday video and will likely also cover this on the React channel as it happens. A link to that channel in the video description. Now as you may have already seen, the long-awaited Horizon online game from Guerrilla Games was revealed this week as Horizon Hunters Gathering. This project has been in the works for 8 years now. So, okay, where to start? Like, I do think that a game about hunting robot dinosaurs together can work, but the approach that Guerrilla Games is taking here feels so far removed from what Horizon is that I don't see this working. The game features over-the-top characters with superhero-like powers that were never possible in the series before. Now I think the art style they're going for is well done, but Horizon already had a very distinct and beautiful art direction. I would argue that the fact these games always had some of the most beautiful graphics in the industry was a major appeal. Hunters Gathering does not have that. On top of that, the gameplay loop feels very uninspired. You start in a hub town, take on a mission, fight machines, collect perks through a roguelite system, fight the boss at the end, and then return to the hub and do it over and over again. Now if this was a separate studio experimenting with the Horizon IP, I would not be as harsh, but this Guerrilla Games, the creators of the franchise, and a lot of people, including many single player developers, are working on this project. And that means that Horizon 3 is coming much later than it would have if they had fully focused on it after Forbidden West. Jason Schreier also confirmed this week on Blue Sky. Now if this game looked better and more people would be excited about it, I think it would be less of an issue, but I don't see this finding a large enough audience to be successful, which would mean that Sony and Guerrilla have spent a huge amount of money and time on something that people don't really want. Naughty Dog cancelled The Last of Us Online after 3 years of development. Sony Band cancelled their live server shooter after Days Gone, which means that we won't see a new game from them for like 10 years. Bluepoint worked on a God of War live service project after Demon's Souls, but that game also got cancelled. So this generation could have had many more big Sony single player games if these studios had focused on what they do best. And sorry about my voice, by the way, as you hear, it's really not great, but I will recover. So maybe you've seen that I was part of the creator council for Hunters Gathering, which meant that I saw the game 2 times, one time in September and one time recently, and I shared all this feedback that I'm telling you now. So if you want to learn more about the game, I did a sort of facts only video with everything you need to know. You can watch that. I will leave a link to it in the video description. And I also did like a reaction to their announcement video and kind of a rant at the end of that video. Also a link to that on the React channel in the video description. Now let's continue with way more gaming news. Leave a like, that would really help me out. And subscribe, because we post one of these big gaming news roundup videos every Sunday. Time for quick shots, news stories I'll go over quickly, starting with another disappointing update before we move on to some good news. French website Origami reports that Ubisoft has cancelled Assassin's Creed League, a planned cooperative multiplayer Assassin's Creed game. And well, this was actually the co-op mode for Assassin's Creed Shadows. We now know that it was in development at Ubisoft NSC with a team of around 85 people. It was initially planned as part of the Season Pass and would have included scripted missions playable with up to 4 players in open world areas of Japan. So there was a plan to host an invitation-only play session in May 2026 to test the alpha in real-world conditions, refine the game and then seek approval from headquarters. But yeah, that obviously won't be happening anymore. Now it's not all for nothing though. A group of 10 developers will now be tasked with transferring the technical achievements made to the Anvil engine and developing pitches for cooperative modes that could benefit a future major Assassin's Creed game. Like, it still makes a lot of sense for Assassin's Creed to have some form of co-op again, but it's clearly going to take a while before we see it. The question of course now is, does this impact other year 2 content plans for Assassin's Creed Shadows as well? We don't fully know it yet. I would be surprised if they cancel that altogether. Hopefully we get a roadmap video soon. I will keep you posted and let me know what your take is in the comments down below. Now for some good news. Ghost of Yotei is a big success. Sales are outperforming Ghost of Tsushima, and this is far from a guarantee for a sequel in today's market. Now, as you might know, the game's development budget was of course around the $60 million, similar to Tsushima, while the revenue now is estimated at around 300 million, with 4 million copies sold according to Alinea Analytics, who have provided reliable data in the past. So great stuff. I really hope we see the Legends co-op mode at the upcoming State of Play, rumored for February 12th. I will keep you posted. So then we still kind of have a co-op mode in Japan this year. Now, I don't think we will see the Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 at the State of Play, but a reveal this year does seem very likely. This week, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was announced for Switch 2 and Xbox, launching on June 3rd with a discounted pre-order price. So June 3rd is just 2 days before the Summer Game Fest kickoff show, which happens on June 5th. And yes, that Jeff Keighley show is where Rebirth was first revealed, so history might repeat itself. Combine that with the fact that the director has said that we will share more updates than ever before on the Final Fantasy VII Remake project this year, and I think it's a very safe bet that Part 3 will be announced there and likely launch in early 2027. It should also release simultaneously on all platforms, so no longer be a PlayStation exclusive, which seems like the right move. Now let me know if you're excited for the third part. I know I am. Both Avowed and the Outerworlds 2 underperformed financially, according to Obsidian studio head in an interview with Bloomberg. Both games were also in development far longer than originally planned. Avowed started as a multiplayer live service project before becoming the single player game that it is today, and the Outerworlds 1 sold 5 million copies, while the sequel has reportedly failed to reach 1 million units sold to this day. So there also won't be a third Outerworlds game. However, Obsidian may do more games in the Avowed universe, which is shared with Pillars of Eternity, so it doesn't mean that they will do like an Avowed 2 or anything, but it could be something else. Now, Grounded 2 on the other hand was a success, largely because it was made by a way smaller team in a shorter time frame. So going forward, Obsidian still wants to focus on both big and small projects, but that take like 3 to 4 years at most, and they also want to avoid launching 3 games in a single year. For now, they will have the PS5 version and a major update for Avowed on February 17th, after which they will likely go quiet for a while. Let them make a Fallout game again, like we have to wait way too long for Bethesda to do it themselves. Speaking of Bethesda game studios, time for the rumor roundup, where I look at the biggest leaks and rumors of the week and rate them. 3 means I believe it, and 1 star means let's take this with a huge grain of salt. Looks like Starfield will launch on PlayStation 5 on April 7th, 2026. This would likely coincide with the rumored 2.0 update featuring fewer loading screens, improved space travel, and possibly the second expansion. This rumor comes from a Polish website that previously reported correct information about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 for PS5 and the physical release of the Oblivion remaster. Now, it is worth noting that this same source also suggested that GTA 6 would not have a physical edition at launch to avoid leaks. However, this week the Take-Two CEO confirmed that GTA marketing will begin in the summer and that the game will in fact have a physical edition. He said that is the plan, so obviously there's still room for change. As mentioned in last week's Sunday video though, I still think they will do something to prevent leaks, because otherwise the game will leak 2 weeks before launch, because it has to be sent to warehouses, etc. So they might do a code in the box or only a small portion of the game on the disc, and that you have to download the rest, so that you also cannot play without downloading the rest. Like, I just want to set your expectations right. Them saying it will still have a physical edition does not mean that it will have the game on disc. Going back to Starfield, I'm actually giving this 3 stars. I'm being a bit bold here, because I do think that this makes a lot of sense, and I also would not be surprised if we see it at the February 12th State of Play. This coming week we will of course do a live reaction to that State of Play if it indeed happens. I will also do one more news roundup when they announce the State of Play with like everything we can expect, so stay tuned for that. We also have some noteworthy releases, including Reanimal from the Little Nightmares 1 and 2 developers, High on Life 2, and what appears to be the current gen version of Kingdom Come Deliverance, launching on February 13th. An early PlayStation Store listing noted that it will include 4K resolution, improved frame rates, and high resolution textures. February 12th will be the dark day for Ubisoft, I think, as they will discuss their financials, which will almost certainly lead to more layoffs. So also I will bring you all the news of course here and on the React channel when it happens. Before that, I will be live with my weekly gaming news stream. Hope to see you there. You can set a reminder by clicking on the screen. I also think we get like a new Crimson Desert video maybe this week, so lots to look forward to. Subscribe, leave a like, and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.